What if your quiet hike in the woods turned into a nightmare you could never escape? Tonight, I'll share chilling Appalachian Trail horror stories that might make you think twice before your next adventure. March was cold enough to make the ground brittle. Aaron Hale, 30, field biologist, parked near Fontana Dam, zipped his jacket, and walked to the wooden box on the post. Trail register. He lifted the lid, took the pen, and wrote in block letters. Aaron Hale, 30. Field biologist. Northbound day hike, Fontana Dam rightward arrow Shuckstack Tower rightward arrow return. Weather clear, light wind. 7:41. He added a line he always added, leave nothing but your trace. He shut the lid. The latch clicked. It was more than bureaucracy, it was a simple way to say, I was here. He started up the Appalachian Trail. The top layer of soil had a thin freeze. Each step cracked it. Birds called. The air smelled of wet leaves. He moved at a steady pace, long strides, even breath. He'd hiked this section many times. Habit mattered out here. Rituals kept small mistakes from becoming events. He checked his watch, checked the map, and checked the daylight angle through the trees. Northbound, toward the old tower. Nothing special in the first miles, just climbing, turning, and the low whir of the wind threading the ridge. Good conditions. Low traffic. Ideal for a quick up and back. The junction appeared around a bend, a three-way split where a spur trail dropped toward Fontana Lake. The signpost was gouged and sun-faded. The main trail continued north along the ridge. A girl was standing at the fork. 19 or 20. Gray hoodie, sleeves shoved to mid-forearm. Black leggings, damp up to the knee. Clean sneakers. No pack. No water bottle. No poles. No hat. No visible gear. Aaron slowed. Morning. She turned. Calm face. Neutral expression. Hi. I'm Aaron, he said automatically, then realized how formal that sounded and left it there. He scanned for context. No car keys in hand, no phone visible, no white cords, no obvious signs of distress or injury. I'm looking for someone, she said. Green jacket. He's supposed to meet me. Here. Aaron asked. Up ahead, she said. She gestured vaguely up the trail, then toward the spur somewhere. He weighed what to say. Trail etiquette, don't force help on people who haven't asked for it. But certain facts were hard to ignore. There's a shelter about 1.5 miles north. If he's hiking, there's a good chance he wrote his trail name in the register. She gave a small polite smile. Okay. Thanks. Do you have water? I'm fine. He nodded once. All right. He pointed north. Trails this way. She turned and went. Light steps. Arms held close. She moved like someone who spent more time on sidewalks than on roots and rock. He watched her pass into the trees and disappear. He stood at the junction a few seconds longer than made sense, then kept moving north. That evening he camped near the Shuckstack Side Trail. He cooked a simple meal, signed the shelter register, and added a note. Saw young woman at Fontana's Spur 10:30 a.m. gray hoodie, black leggings, no pack. Said she's looking for man in green jacket. Headed northbound. He lay in his bag and stared at the triangular patch of sky framed by branches. The fire was out, the coals were dull red. Wind shifted. At 21:13, he heard one step on something hollow, like a log. Then nothing. No follow-up step. No voice. Later, a small cold flicker at tree lean. 1 second, gone. Could have been a watch face, a phone, a reflection, or nothing at all. He wrote in his pocket notebook, 21:13 single step S of camp, silence. Low flicker by trees, No second source. He listed her clothes and direction again. He went back to staring at the sky. Sleep took a long time. In the morning he hiked, checked the registers, and kept hiking. No new female name that fit. No note from someone in a green jacket. Nothing that connected. Pages showed weather gripes, trail names, little sketches of mountains, and the usual declarations about miles and blisters. Nothing about a girl in a gray hoodie. At the next junction he opened a register and flipped through quickly, then slowly. No match. He looked at the pages and thought about what they were: proof of passage. In an emergency, the books could shorten a search. Most days, they were just a courtesy to the unknown next person. He wrote his own entry with more detail than usual: name, time, direction, weather. He added boot model and jacket color. He pressed harder than he needed to. He wasn't sure why. By midday he accepted a simple possibility: she hadn't signed. Some hikers refused to for privacy reasons. Some forgot. Some didn't care. Or she wasn't a hiker. Or she didn't make it this far. All unanswered. He turned around at the tower, ate quickly, and headed back south, watching the tread more than normal. He scanned for small things, scuffs, fibers, anything that didn't look like the rest of the day. Nothing obvious. He drove to the ranger station that afternoon. The office had a topo map covering a wall, a coffee smell, and a heater that clicked. A gray-haired ranger looked up. "Help you?" Aaron described the encounter: location, time, clothing, behavior, direction. He kept it short. No embellishment. The ranger listened, then nodded once. Every few years, someone reports a young woman near Fontana. Looking for someone. No pack, minimal gear. Details vary. Doesn't match any active missing persons when we check. Sometimes we get a follow-up note in a register the next day that says she found who she was meeting. Sometimes we don't. Any search reports? Aaron asked. Not that fit your description, the ranger said. Not recently. Aaron looked at the map. Red pins clustered near the dam, shelters, and crossings. If she were in trouble, you'd hear. If someone reports it, the ranger said. And if she wants to be found. He set down his mug. Tell me something: who needs a record more, the living, or the lost? Aaron didn't answer. The ranger went on, matter of fact, not theatrical. Registers are simple tools. They're not law, not surveillance. Some people sign to be part of something. Some sign because they know it can help if something goes wrong. Some refuse on principle. We deal with all three. The trail isn't a storybook that owes anyone a clean ending. Understood, Aaron said. He left his contact info and walked out. The question the ranger had asked kept moving: who needs a record more, the living, or the lost? Back on trail the next morning, Aaron wrote more than his name each time: time, direction, jacket color, boot model. He took photos of the entries with timestamps. He wasn't paranoid, he was methodical. Leaving clean breadcrumbs wasn't dramatic. It was practical. He thought about how simple materials carried proof: ink in a wet book, a fiber snagged on a thorn, a print with a tread pattern, a chip in the mud where a pole hit, a water level line on a shoe, a bit of lake silt mixed into ridge loam. The forest consumed most of it by the next rain, but for a day or two, the trail was legible. He wrote another note under his entry at a junction: saw same young woman. Details in shuck stack register. He added a date and time. Not fear. Not obsession. A small, controlled need to make a clean record. If anything happened later to him, to someone else, the page would shorten someone's job. Midday, he turned off his headlamp and sat on a log to eat. He scanned the spur where he'd first seen her and decided to go back there on foot with nothing else planned. If the ground kept anything, it would be there. He returned to the three-way junction. He didn't announce a search. He didn't wander. He worked in small grids, slow and close to the ground. 10 yards north of the post, a blackberry bramble caught light. He closed in. A short gray fiber hung on a thorn. He pinched it carefully. Synthetic. Frayed. He slid it into a small plastic bag from his med kit and labeled it. Fiber, gray, 10 to 12 ydn of Fontana spur, caught on rubus. He studied the ground around the snag. A faint narrow scuff where a toe had brushed downhill. Another partial print, light, not the deep heel-to-toe plant of someone carrying a load. Step frequency high, stride short. A shallow depression held lighter silt mixed into the darker loam. He touched it and smelled the faint iron scent of lake edge. He followed the intermittent signs for 20 yards until the surface dried and regular traffic had flattened everything. No more fibers, no clear prints. He marked the position on his map and in his pocket notebook with time and weather. If it meant something later, the entry would help. If not, the axe still made sense. He stood, looked north, then down toward the lake. If she had come up from the water without gear and without signing, she was either meeting someone quickly or she was moving through fast without intending to be tracked. He left the junction without touching the signpost and walked until the mental image of the fork was behind him. That night he laid out 3 options in clear language. No stretching. No what-ifs that needed myths. Option 1, she was simply out here unprepared, and she got lucky. She met the man in the green jacket, got water, turned around, and went home. No harm, no foul. It happens. The lack of a signature is annoying, but not illegal. Option 2, she was never truly here. She was a repeating rumor that the brain overlays on any young person seen near Fontana without gear. One person tells it, another repeats it, and over time the details harden. The rangers every few years fit that pattern. Option 3, she was here, but not in any category the paperwork handled well. Not missing, not victim, not perpetrator, not client. She doesn't intend to be in a ledger. She moves off the trail network quickly and leaves almost nothing. He noted his biases. He wanted clean systems and verifiable facts. He disliked loose ends. He liked that registers existed because they turned chaos into simple lines of ink. He also liked that the woods ignored people's need for tidy endings. He wrote short, not flowery, we don't have an answer. That's okay. Use the open slot to do the simple things right, sign, time, direction. Morning came, and the question didn't feel bigger. It felt smaller and sharper, like a splinter he could leave alone. He stopped at a shelter with a new register, first page still blank. He pulled off one glove, wrote. Aaron Hale, 30, field biologist. Northbound day hike. 8:02 clear, light wind. Boots, La Sportiva Ultra Raptor. Jacket, green. He added, indented beneath his entry, if you're looking for someone, check registers in both directions. Then a line below that, if you don't sign, you're harder to find. He didn't add more. No sermon. Just a useful rule that didn't depend on this one encounter. He closed the lid and stood for a second, palm resting on the wooden box. He thought about what the ranger had asked. Who needs a record more, the living, or the lost? His answer kept to himself was simple, the living who don't know they're about to need it. He moved on. He kept signing. He kept notes tight and useful, location, time, observed hazards, low water at the spring, downed blowdown at a mile marker, small wasp activity near a log. Straight data someone else could use. He didn't chase the girl in his head. He let the trail be the trail. On his last morning he reached another new register box. He opened it. Blank lines. He wrote. Aaron Hale, 30. Field biologist. Southbound to Fontana. 7:29 clear. He added one final sentence below, not a riddle, not a flourish. Leave a trace that helps someone else. He closed the lid. The hinge made a clean sound. He set his poles, tightened his straps, and started downhill. The ground softened as the day warmed. Somewhere below, water lapped rock. He didn't look back. The book stayed behind for the next person. Maybe they'd sign. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd write down something that mattered later. Maybe a ranger would flip the pages and connect two lines that saved an hour for a search team. Most days, it would just sit there, gathering names and weather notes and crude drawings. He walked until the junction was memory and the memory was small. The girl in the gray hoodie became a line in a shelter log and a fiber in a bag, both filed away. Useful if they were needed, harmless if they weren't. There was no reveal waiting at the dam. No last-minute radio call. No green jacket on the roadside. Just a parking lot, a thermos, and a quiet drive out of the hills. The question stayed the same size, which was the right size, where do you leave your trace, and who will read it? I'm up before light. The ritual keeps me honest. Lace, loop, pull, check stove and lighter, count bandages, confirm water filter, power on the satellite tracker and watch the LED pulse, lock the phone, set the whistle where my hand finds it fast. I scan batteries and backups in order: headlamp full, power bank 82%, tracker at 97%. I take a sip of hot instant coffee and breathe the steam. I eat a tortilla with peanut butter because it never freezes and never leaks. Last step, I go through the safety litany I wrote for myself on day 3 of this hike. You don't owe strangers the truth. You don't owe them your plan or your pace. No is complete. I zip the last pocket and listen to the creak until its sound becomes the metronome for my steps. The morning is cool and ordinary. I leave camp cleaner than I found it and move out, alone. He sets up near a gravel pull-off where the trail crosses a quiet road, a folding table, a cooler, paper cups, potato chips, a cardboard sign that says free for hikers with a crooked smiley face. Trail magic, the kind everyone talks about and most people love. The cooler lid is propped open like a friendly mouth. Bottles of Gatorade sweat in the shade. Morning, he calls. Mid-40s, ball cap, wraparound sunglasses, a fleece that's a little too clean. He waves like we're old friends. Grab something, young lady. Got soda, Gatorade, chips, cookies. You headed north? I can get you to town later. Pizza on me. My backpack stays on. I let my mind do the checklist it does when something is too easy. Where's the car? I see a silver pickup angled just off the pull-off, tailgate down. Is there a second person in the cab? The windshield glare hides it. What's my exit if his table blocks the footpath? 2 steps left is brush, 2 steps right is culvert, straight ahead is trail. How's his tone? Smooth, practiced, just a little ahead of the situation. Thanks, I say, keeping it neutral. I stop at the far edge of the table so I'm still on the line of the trail. I look over the labels like I'm deciding and give myself 3 breaths to read details. 1 bottle cap is already cracked. The open chips bag is rolled at the top, not sealed. Harmless facts. My heart rate says otherwise. Where you coming from today? He asks, casual. South, I answer, which is true and useless. He gestures to the table like a game show host. You look like you could use a cold one. He speaks too fast for someone with nothing else to do. I pick a sealed bottle and break the cap myself. The click is reassuring. I drink without letting my mouth touch the rim. His sunglasses mirror my outline. There's no one else in that reflection. I step sideways so the trail remains clear behind me. Got friends behind you? He asks. Always, I say, and smile like it's a joke. He laughs on cue. That's smart. You going to push past the gap or stay at the shelter? I shrug. Depends on water. He nods like we've shared a useful secret. It's not. He wipes his hands on a towel like a man finishing a task. Did you get much sleep down by Bear Creek last night? Cold down there. My palm tightens on the bottle. Bear Creek isn't a shelter. It's a small unofficial site beside a bend where the stream pools before the footbridge. It isn't on the popular apps comments. I camped there because it felt off-grid enough to be quiet. I hadn't posted a thing. I think of my tracker. Last week I turned on a public share link for my parents. I set it to friends with the link and texted it. I never posted it anywhere, but I never revoked it either. I had left the default device name as Leah at 2025. The page shows a breadcrumb trail and a last updated timestamp that's minutes, not hours, behind reality. I say, easy as I can manage. Was it cold? I was out like a light. I set the bottle down, pull my phone, and open the tracker app under the table edge. My thumb moves with practice I didn't know I had. Share rightward arrow off. Device name rightward arrow at unit. Link rightward arrow revoke. I feel the tiniest haptic thud as the app confirms the change. The glow of the screen paints my knuckles blue. He keeps talking like none of this matters. I live around here, he says. Drive folks to town. You'd be amazed what people post. Makes it easy to help. Help, I repeat. Yeah. He smiles. It doesn't reach his cheeks. So you're Leah, right? The sound ripples through my ribs like cold water. I never said my name. Leah, he says again, savoring it. I gave a guy a lift yesterday who mentioned Leah a few hours behind. Small world. He shifts and, without stepping fully into the trail, angles enough that the shortest line outruns near his hip. He lowers his voice like men do when they want to sound reasonable. If you want, I can slack pack you to the next road. Throw your bag in the truck. It's easy miles. We can grab a pie in town, best pepperoni around. I look at his sunglasses and in them I look small. I'm good with my bag, I say. And my group is 5 minutes behind me. We're aiming for the same road. He turns his head a fraction like he's listening for them. The woods are quiet, no voices, no jokes, no clatter of poles. The silence is almost helpful. It makes my lie sound like a warning, not a bluff. I keep my voice with an edge of apology that isn't one. We have a shuttle set. They get twitchy if we change plans. He tips his head, reassessing. You don't look like you need babysitting, he says, tone lower. And you don't look like you need a citation for blocking a public footpath, I answer, not sweet. He leans back an inch. The path opens by a thumb's width. I nod a thank you I don't feel and step forward. He could reach, he doesn't. I pass, slow enough that sudden movement won't escalate anything. My eyes stay ahead. My poles kiss dirt like metronomes. I don't hurry until the table is behind me and the trail curves. I don't run. I don't give him a chase to accept. I put distance where it belongs, measured and unemotional. Poles, step, breathe, poles, step, breathe. My head rotates on an interval, scan back blind spots, scan prints, scan edges. The forest goes strangely quiet, no midday chatter, no woodpecker. The absence feels like someone holding their breath. I check the tread every 50 yards. Fresh scuffs on wet clay tell simple truths. A broken twig points in a direction that isn't mine. At a muddy patch below a seep I see a partial print with a diamond pattern and a heel drag. It faces my way. It's older than an hour. Not helpful, not harmful. I pass a small spur that leads to a view. I don't take it. I keep the main corridor. I listen for rock clacks and bottle rattles and the sound boots make when they hurry. I hear none of it. I keep my pace, not fast enough to trip, not slow enough to invite conversation. If he follows, he'll follow at a safe distance. If he doesn't, I still arrive at the next shelter with a body that didn't burn unnecessary adrenaline. 2 miles later, I stop behind a boulder and eat. I time myself, 3 minutes. I drink, shoulders against stone. Then I go. The shelter sits where the ridge flattens. The register is in a wooden box with a dull hinge. I flip it open and write the things I always write: name, direction, time, weather, water status. I add a note about a downed tree 3/10 back that requires a step over. Then I point the pen at a blank space and hold it there. Do I write about him? On a practical level, warnings help. Man in wraparound sunglasses offering rides and slack packing at Road X would give someone else a better read. On an ethical level, I don't know his name. I don't have a plate. I have a feeling and a set of facts that point but don't prove. If I write it, I put him on paper in a place that outlasts this day. That permanence is a power. I set the pen down and draw a line between personal safety and public record. I decide to log behavior, not a person. I write: aggressive trail magic at Road 214, unsolicited ride offers, questions about campsite. Solo hikers advised to move through without stopping. It's clean, non-accusatory, and true. I close the book. The hinge complains. I shoulder my pack and move on. Town is 3 miles of downhill and 1 hitch on a church van that runs a shuttle. The outfitter smells like rubber and wool. A bell over the door ticks as I step in. A woman behind the counter looks up, hair in a bandana, hands busy with a roll of look-a-tape. You look like you need socks or facts, she says. Facts, I answer. About trackers and creepy people who know where you slept last night. She points at a stool. I sit. I lay my phone on the counter, open the tracker app, and show her the toggles. She asks direct questions, no fluff. Did you post your link anywhere? Did you use your real name as the device name? Is your share live or delayed? Do you have a secondary profile that doesn't show your face? Do you say we even when you're alone? I answer, no, yes, live, no, sometimes. She makes a face at live. Delay it an hour, she says. And never use your actual name on the device. You'd be shocked what people scrape. She grabs a laminated sheet from beside the register. Here. 8 practical rules. Most of them are obvious. Obvious works. She tells me 2 stories while I read. In one, a hiker kept an Instagram reel going daily with locations and got her tent visited by a drunk man who thought he was a fan. In another, a guy used a cache of public Garmin links to map a pattern of solo women camping at road crossings. Neither ended in violence. Both ended in fear. You don't owe strangers the truth, the woman says, as if reading my morning litany. You owe yourself a boring hike. She circles 2 items on the sheet with a marker and slides it to me. Make those habits. I sit on the bench outside the outfitter and read the rules again while trucks idle at the light. I don't hate trail magic. I don't intend to live like a suspect. Gratitude and caution can live on the same line. What I feel isn't cynicism. It's edges. Every map has them, the place where the color stops and the white begins, the labeled meets the unlabeled. My trust sits in the colored area. Everything outside it is not evil, it's just unlabeled. People who think they're entitled to your route will act like they know you. People who think your name is a thing they can pick up and carry will try to use it as a handle. I won't be picked up like that. The day leans toward afternoon. I put the sheet in my map case. A pickup rolls past. Dust lifts and settles on my boots like talc. The town is ordinary and safe, which is exactly how I like it. That night I rewrite my morning ritual into an 8-step drill. No speeches. Just rules I can run through without thinking. Anonymize accounts. Device name is neutral, @unit, not my name. Profiles use trail landscapes, not my face. Delay location sharing. If I share, it lags at least an hour. Live shares are for small, known circles only. Links get revoked after use. Never broadcast spontaneous camps. I don't announce a random non-shelter site. I post after I leave, if I post at all. Decline cleanly. No, thanks. I'm set. No apologies, no explanations. Repeat once if needed, then walk. Use a safety phrase. My group is 5 minutes behind is code for leave me alone. It doesn't invite argument. Carry a plan B. If I sense a tail, I have an alternate exit, a side trail, a road crossing, a ranger number, a whistle pattern. Report when I can. When I hit service, I log behavior to the ranger or a hostile board, location, time, description, facts only. Record details. If someone pings my radar, I write what I saw, clothing, vehicle, phrases, offers, where it happened. My memory is good, my notebook is better. I run the list twice until I can hear it like a song. Each click of the phone as I change settings is small but final. I go to sleep knowing I've tightened the perimeter without building a wall. Morning again. Ritual again. The creek keeps time. I sign the register and add a single line under my name. If someone says your name and you never gave it, you're done with that conversation. The trail has saints and it has scavengers. Most days it's only trees and weather and blisters and the quiet beauty of going from point A to point B without a story to tell. I prefer those days. Today I move with my pack the way I always do, my gear on my back, my rules in my head, my eyes up. The road into town blurs behind the trees. The path in front of me is just dirt and roots and good miles. I'm not a victim in this narrative. I'm the person who kept her own name, kept her plan, and walked away. If I meet you out here and you're kind, I'll be kind back. If you call me something I never gave you, I'll turn on my heel and keep going. The sound that remains after everything else fades is simple, my shoes on the trail, steady and mine.